And we are back. Diamond K in here, of course, radioonfire.com, the Diamond K Show.com. Now, so much going on as far as the election, as far as Trump being a sore loser. No surprise here. The hypocrisy, no surprise at all with the way Donald Trump is acting. So Joe Biden has vowed to get to work despite the resistance of Donald Trump. And I say hypocrisy because when you look back at the 2016 election, Joe Biden is beating Trump by more than Hillary Clinton lost. Donald Trump now two-time loser of the popular vote, right? Two-time loser, does not want to accept the facts, and Republicans are going to enable him for as long as they can because they want to try to tap into the Trump base. But at the end of the day, Trump is not stopping anything. He is being a big baby. So the unsupported claims of fraud, he's just throwing stuff around. Trump has, for right now, blocked the incoming president from receiving intelligence briefings, and he has withheld federal funding, but he is not going to stop the inevitable. Now, if you want to have some recounts in a couple of states, that's fine. It's not going to be enough to change the results of the election. And speaking of the results of the election, Republicans like Lindsey Graham, Republicans like Mitch McConnell, any other losers, lackeys. We call them lackeys because they won their elections on the same ballot that they're trying to say is fraudulent with Trump. It doesn't even make sense. So many Republicans that were victorious are saying, well, the votes for us on the ballot were fine, but something else. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can't have it both ways. Why wouldn't they say everything is fraudulent on the same ballot, right? What happened in this election is very simple. The American people showed that they don't want to go too far to the extreme right or too far to the extreme left. This is a mandate for moderation, mandate for middle of the road. That's why Trump lost, aside from the fact that he screwed everything up with regards to this pandemic. Trump could have won, even after screwing up for the first 3 years. If Trump had given a sensible, a parent-like, responsible management handling of this pandemic from the time that it hit America's shores back in January up until the election, had he handled that correctly, I think he could have won. Honestly, I do. I think he could have won if he had handled this correctly and soberly. But he didn't. He chose to ignore it. He chose to deny it. He chose to lie about it. He chose to do all these different things that were counterproductive for the health and well-being of Americans. And thus you get this result. By his own words, he lost to what he called the worst candidate in the history of politics. He lost to that person. And he can't accept the fact that he lost. He cannot accept the fact that he lost. So we can let this go on, and we can let this go on. And for Trump apologists and Republicans who have a bad memory, if you want to reference Al Gore and Bush, the difference that they were talking about was 520 some odd votes. Joe Biden has beaten Trump by tens of thousands of votes in the states that you're complaining about. Tens of thousands. Okay, so don't even try to pull that card. This is laughable. You know, you guys are sore losers. That's what you called Hillary Clinton. You called Hillary Clinton a sore loser, and she was crying, couldn't accept the results. You said all that, and she just waited a couple of hours, right? Trump is going on days and days and probably will never concede. The biggest sore loser that there is. You want to talk about TV shows? He's the biggest loser. He's the biggest loser. And, you know, some Trump folks are still going to say years from now, he's going to run again in 2024, right? But he's never lost. It's confusing. Look, take your lumps. You lost, all right? You lost. And try again in 2024. I mean, you know, it's all good. Try again and maybe better luck next time. But you lost this time. He lost his time. And instead of trying to get his money together to pay back some of these people that you're going to have to pay when you get out of office, you want to sit and raise lawsuits that are going to, all the lawsuits that they brought up have gotten thrown out. And this is going to continue to get thrown out and thrown out. But hey, you know, he's been wasting the American people's money and steal on one hand and stealing allegedly with the other hand. Raising these unsupported claims of fraud, unsupported. Trump has gone on with this, and behind the scenes, his team knows that this is a pointless fight. This is pointless. But they're going to continue to go along with it. Secretly, many of his staff is looking for their next move, trying to find a next job, because the Trump train, I constantly heard MAGA supporters talking about the Trump train. Well, the Trump train is out of coal, okay? The Trump train is out of track, right? The track is almost over. And this American debacle is almost at its end. Joe Biden described Trump's position as little more than an embarrassing mark on the outgoing president's legacy. This is true. This is true. When they look back, Trump's always the victim. He's always the victim. He's been given the most. But he's the victim. Father constantly bailing him out. Sister and family members doing his work for him in school, right? Getting out of going into military service, right? When his father left him money, bailing him out of debacles at casinos constantly, over and over again. I mean, he's always the victim, yet he's given so much. It's really sad. The Republican resistance does not change the dynamic at all in what's happening. At all. I mean, if Hillary Clinton had just done one of these things? Oh my gosh, the media would have just ripped her to shreds. If Hillary Clinton was going around back then, because she won the popular vote, okay? She won the popular vote. She could have said, I won the popular vote, but she lost the Electoral College, and she accepted it, and she moved on. She went in the woods and did whatever she did and got her smile back. But Trump, who once again lost the popular vote, and this time lost the Electoral College, okay? Y'all played the electoral math perfectly in 2016. However, your arrogance and your cockiness, you lost it in 2020. But instead of accepting that fact, y'all are still holding on. And you're holding on. It's like a basketball game. It's already over with. and y'all still talking about the referee call. It's over. Okay, the game's over. People have gone home. They're cleaning up, and they get ready for another game. Wow. So Biden has this low-key approach, right? He's not getting too worked up about it. He's going to be the president for all Americans. And in any other election against any other candidate, Biden probably loses. But against Donald Trump's extremes, I guess it balanced out. So Biden's going to have a sharp reversal of the current president's style. Just a sharp reversal. We are just 70 some odd days before inauguration. Oh, an inauguration is going to happen. Okay, so just deal with it. Trump and his allies are determined to make this transition as difficult as possible. However, President Obama opened up the door and welcomed this current president who lost the popular vote, right? Who showed him no respect. Donald Trump showed President Obama no respect. However, President Obama was gracious. He welcomed him. They did the transition, and the transition started the next day. But this administration, no. It's always the games. They're always the victims. It's always the lies. It's everybody's conspiring against them, right? So he still talked about from Twitter today unsupported claims of massive ballot counting abuse. Not supported, but I mean it's predictable for him, even for him. Rumors about that his wife is going to leave him. I'm sure you can clearly see she's not happy, and I think that the most unhappy person in this country, when Trump won the presidency, aside from Hillary Clinton, that next unhappy person was Melania Trump. Because she probably planned to leave him back in 2016. And she was like, dang, I gotta stay with him for another 4 years. Trump has allies, of course, on Capitol Hill. And when I say allies, maybe they're allies. Maybe they're just scared of the Trump base. But Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has encouraged the president's baseless accusations. Republicans need to be focused on keeping the Senate majority because it appears that we are headed to some special elections in January by way of the state of Georgia. But as I said about Trump's tweets, they were quickly flagged by social media networks. And, it's just, his claims are baseless. It's baseless. He's getting backlash from behind the scenes, but a lot of Republicans not really at a point where they want to come out and publicly, part ways with him. But it is an embarrassment. And if any other politician did this, on the left or the right, people would be coming down on him. People would be coming down on him. So let's go to some of these comments, seeing some interesting ones here. Looks like this one is from Periscope, and he says they cheated by using the mail-in ballots, and you know it. Okay, so this is a Trump supporter here, obviously. So Stone Cold 9316. Are you named after Stone Cold Steve Austin or the ice cream? It's Cold Stone. Okay, whatever. So you said that they cheated by using mail-in ballots. The current president, Donald Trump, voted by mail-in ballot. What are you talking about, Stone Cold? What are you talking about? They cheated using mail-in ballots. First of all, there's a pandemic. Second of all, even Trump used mail-in ballots. Kellyanne Conway uses mail-in ballots. Plenty of people use mail-in ballots. What are you talking about? He's talking crazy, okay? And I like Stone Cold the wrestler, but he's talking crazy. Stone Cold 9316. See what else here. John says, great commentary, Diamond. Thank you very much. It's I love getting on here and I love talking unapologetic news and opinion. I love doing it and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And so, it's well, he's got another one here. Let me see this. Okay. Hillary acted like an adult and just moved on. She did. She acted like an adult. She took it on the chin and she kept going. All right. Let's see here. I got another one here. Actually, the entire ballot has been shown to be fraudulent. What? If that's the case, then the Republicans who won, like Mitch McConnell, they lost too, right? They lost too. Another Trump supporter. Okay. All right. Whatever his name is. He has not lost as of today. Another Trump supporter. Okay. All right. I hear you. And that's on Periscope. Okay. So as you can see, there's a lot of Kool-Aid to go around. A lot of Trump supporters, bringing the Kool-Aid. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. Trump is the worst. I agree. If I could think of a president that's been worse than Trump, it has to be Andrew Johnson, right after Lincoln. Thank you. Of course, your man Diamond K in here, RadioFire.com, the Diamond K Show.com, and so much more to get into. As the coronavirus continues, U.S. hits a record on the COVID-19 hospitalizations, and the virus is surging. And in Baltimore City School officials are scaling back plans that they had to reopen dozens of schools. So there was all this pressure from people in the community, I guess, Republicans, I don't know, people, deniers. I didn't understand where this pressure was coming from. I mean, how can, I guess, parents, legitimately, you have what they call COVID fatigue. I get it. I understand I understand you having it. However, the disease, the virus, does not care about your fatigue. The virus does not care about holidays. The virus does not care, okay? The virus does not respect state lines. The virus does not care who you voted for. The virus is a virus, okay? That the whole thing here is that it is infecting folk. So people saying that they tired of the virus, and they ready to get back to their life, and they want their freedom. I mean, this has nothing to do with freedom. Okay, this is not even, anybody who thinks that wearing a mask is infringing on their freedom has never ever had their freedom in jeopardy, because you wouldn't even equate that. Baltimore City school officials have come to their senses today. In a board meeting, they announced that the district will reopen 25 schools instead of the 44 initially approved by the board. And the district will also begin conducting on-site coronavirus testing at schools, and launched a web-based dashboard of school-based cases. So I don't know. I don't understand why people are having trouble comprehending that flu season is about. We are seeing this increase due to many factors. But flu season combined with this virus is going to wreak havoc. So this is coming from the chairman of the Baltimore City Parent Community Advisory Board. He said this: at the end of the day, we know it's still not safe. When we think about what next steps to take, it should be made with the mindset of letting the data inform our decisions. And right now, the data is indicating that we should not be entering those spaces. Talking about schools in Baltimore City. Okay. And continued, the city school system has not taken the precautions we see in other districts to make schools as safe as possible for students. And we have no faith that the current Baltimore City public school system plans are in the best interests of our students. And that is facts right there. That is facts. I don't know what's happening in your town or your neck of the woods, but Baltimore and Maryland in general is not as bad as far as our infection rate as some other places. There are other places worse than us, and we don't have things together yet. So I can imagine that wherever you may be in the country or the world for that matter, the COVID-19 may not be at a point of containment. They didn't slow the spread and all that foolishness that Trump and Pence and the other lackeys were talking about. They didn't slow no spread. So let us continue. I'm looking at some of these comments, and let's get to a few of these comments. So Sharon Applewhite says on YouTube, when it's all said and done, he lost. Trump talking about all this fraud and scam. Why no? Okay, and she continued, Trump talking about all this fraud and scam 4 years ago. How do you think he got in? Yeah, I mean, you got a good point. She raised some good point. I mean, Trump he's a scam himself. They call him Don the Con. Okay, he's a scam artist himself. Earlier today, the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, talked about his plans to address Maryland's recent coronavirus case increase. So he had this press conference, and it wasn't. Baltimore City seems to be doing worse than the rest of the state. But ultimately, the main thing that the governor was focused on was indoor dining. So they're making some statewide cutbacks on indoor dining, and that is effective in Maryland as of tomorrow. He's put in some travel restrictions. And things have not gone back to the way they were in the beginning. But effective 5 p.m. tomorrow, bars and restaurants will be limited to serving no more than 50% of capacity for indoor dining. And the governor's new orders come as COVID-19 cases and related metrics continue to rise, not only in Maryland, but nationwide. The governor said that since last week, most of our key metrics have worsened considerably. We're now seeing widespread community spread, not just in our cities and urban and suburban areas, but in our rural counties that had not experienced the large spikes earlier this year. So as far as Maryland, the state has seen 1,000 new cases added each of the last 7 days. The positivity rate yesterday crossed the 5% benchmark. I mean, it's things are getting worse. I thought Trump said that after the 4th, you weren't going to hear about it no more, right? That goes to show you some of he's just throwing stuff at the wall. So these people that are believing this foolishness that he's saying, he just says things. No rhyme, no reason other than to just lie and confuse people. So some jurisdictions, including Baltimore City, Anne Arundel County, Montgomery County in Maryland, have already announced plans to go beyond the governor's restrictions on restaurants. Baltimore City is really putting the clamp down. Starting Thursday evening, all gatherings in Baltimore City will be limited to no more than 10 people, and all establishments will be limited to no more than 25% capacity indoor dining, and indoor dining will end after 11 p.m. So the governor said that too many Maryland businesses and residents are becoming complacent. And Hogan stressed that the new order will be enforced. A lot of people think, going back to this freedom stuff, you can't just do whatever you want. Okay, so they're talking about enforcement. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound good. So you need to listen to what the powers that be are saying. So the Maryland Department of Health also introduced a suite of emergency health advisories. So one strongly warns against indoor gatherings of 25 people or more. Another advisory strongly recommends that against any non-essential travel to any state with a positivity rate above 10%. Or case rates above 20 per 100,000 in the last 7 days. So stay put in your city, state, stay put, and wear a mask. That advisory covers, much of the country, including Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and New Jersey. So you should immediately postpone or cancel travel to any of the states with spiking metrics. I see a lot of people on Instagram, you know what I mean? They of course, flights are cheap now, and they're doing too much. They're doing too much. If you travel out of state, you're going to need to self-quarantine. You're going to need to self-quarantine. We've got to get this thing in order. A lot of people think that it's a joke. And some people say, oh, yeah, you're going to get better. Everybody doesn't get better. And some people have lingering symptoms. Some things don't go back to normal. The economy has been affected tremendously. Some businesses are gone forever. Okay, this is a serious thing. So whether you die or you know somebody personally that has died, I know people that have personally died, family members I know, obviously, that have passed away. This is serious. Some people's businesses have died. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. Let's go back to the comment section and look at some more. Okay, West Coast Mafia on YouTube says that Trump supporters are delusional. They think he actually won. Shaking my head. Hashtag red crybabies. Okay. Now look, you know I agree with that. Another one, very delusional. We're talking about the Trump, right? Okay. If Democrats cheated, why wouldn't they be smart enough to take the Senate and the House? Okay. Now that's a good point. I said that a couple days ago, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. Why would they? Why wouldn't they take control of the House and the Senate? Of course, if they cheated so bad. That's an excellent point. They the Democrats cheated, right? But they said we're gonna leave Mitch McConnell in charge. We're not gonna get rid of Lindsey Graham. It doesn't make sense. Is the point? It doesn't make sense. Um, let's continue in the comment section, of course. Just tuned in, it's Radio Fire and Diamond K. Biden stole the election. That's the embarrassment. Okay, so the Heat 0627 said that Biden stole the election. How, the Heat? How did they steal the election? Maybe you didn't hear what West Coast Mafia said, which was an excellent point. West Coast Mafia said that if Democrats cheated, why wouldn't they be smart enough to take the Senate and the House? Now, the Heat, I mean, do you have an answer for that? Probably not. Probably not. See, what else does the Heat say? All you have to do is look up the past voter participation stats. It's hovered around 69 to 70%. 2020 had an 84% turnout. That's a 15% hike, not even possible. Do some research, please. Newsmax and OWN. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Listen, the Heat 0627 fam. We are coming on the cusp of one of the worst pandemics. Crazy leadership by a not stable genius. People got out and voted. People have been affected by the mishandling of this coronavirus pandemic, for starters. The economy is in shambles. People were motivated to get out and vote. And ironically, and I said this 2 years ago, President Trump created his own situation for his own demise by his mismanagement and mishandling of the presidency. He created this. He got people motivated against him because he was such a disaster himself. He has no one to blame but himself. Now, the pandemic obviously created the circumstances for people to increase mail-in voting. Georgia, where this is, oh my God, you can't believe that Biden won, that's controlled and run by Republicans. Do you remember that they stole the election from Stacey Abrams? Right? Or at least she felt like they did. It was some funny business and they got some votes thrown out. But Trump it's not going to work out. Trust me, okay? Kemp in Georgia does not want to cheat for Joe Biden. Okay? Newsmax and OWN. Okay. For people that don't know, Newsmax and One America Network, Trump supporting outlets. Very interesting. The Heat 0627 is delusional. And the trumpeters have given up. I have not heard Alex Jones talk about any of this in quite some time. You got to really search to find him. But I'm sure he is crying and whining. Trump supporters, weak people for a weak leader. Okay. I'm digging that. I agree that Trump is weak. And Trump is not, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. And speaking of not knowing what to do, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, that's another thing that really got Americans motivated to vote. Republicans are trying to take away health care in the midst of a pandemic. In the midst of a health crisis, the Republicans think now is the time to finally put the stamp and the stomp on Obamacare. I never understood why Republicans who claimed that they wanted to get rid of Obamacare for so strongly, never could come up with a replacement. So that was another thing that motivated people in 2018 to get out and vote in some of those elections, saving the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. So a more conservative Supreme Court appears unwilling to do what Republicans have wanted to do for 10 years. Please get rid of Obamacare. That's all they wanted to do. Nobody thought about what we can do to replace it, because it's much harder than just saying you want to replace it. They didn't really want to do the work because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So they want to kill off the Affordable Care Act, including its key protections for pre-existing conditions. That's the thing right there, the pre-existing conditions. Now, of course, they're going to lie. Oh, no, we're going to protect pre-existing conditions. Bull. You never want to protect it no other time. Now, all of a sudden, you want to protect it. So, meeting remotely a week after the election and in the midst of a pandemic that has closed the Supreme Court courtroom. The justices today took on the latest Republican challenge to Obamacare, Obama era laws with health coverage, with three appointees of Donald Trump, an avowed foe of the law among them. And, what's so surprising to many people, at least one of those Trump appointees, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, seemed likely to vote to leave the bulk of the law intact. Even if he were to find the law's toothless mandate that everyone obtain health insurance to be unconstitutional. So what are you going to do, right? Are they really going to take away health coverage? They're going to say, oh, it's a disaster, and it's this, it's that. Republicans have been picking at the Affordable Care Act for 10 years, trying to take this away, take that away. And then they want to say that it doesn't work. You've been tinkering with it and trying to kick the legs out from under it from the beginning. It does seem fairly clear that the proper remedy would be to serve the mandate provision and leave the rest of the act in place. So he says he wants to sever the mandate and leave the rest of the law in place. I mean, this is just going to go on. And so Joe Biden's going to come in. He's going to try to tweak some things. He's going to make it Biden care. And people are more than likely going to have their health coverage. People that could not afford it prior to. A lot of people did not have health coverage prior to the Affordable Care Act. But most of the Republicans are not even thinking about those folk. Most of the people that would be affected by the loss of the Affordable Care Act are Republicans, poor or people that were supported Trump. I don't even know if they were Republicans. They voted Republican because of Trump. But you take Trump out of the equation, I don't know if those people, a lot of those people, are even still politically active after that. Many of them weren't politically active before that. The average Trump supporter, do you think that they voted for Mitt Romney? No, probably didn't. And so let's look at a few more comments before we get out of here. Even if Trump won those states, it wouldn't even add up to 270 electoral votes. You're absolutely right. And, I think that he has what, 214 right now. He's just trying to get a little bit more. He's just trying to get a little bit more. He doesn't want to lose so bad. Oh, he lost so bad. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, you couldn't have wrote a better story. It's just like he got in office and they didn't think that this is going to come up again. And one thing I can say about Democrats this time, they don't normally learn from their mistakes, but they learned the electoral map, and it was very intricate. And not only did they need to motivate people to come out, but they needed to motivate people in certain areas to come out specifically. And they learned from that Hillary Clinton electoral loss because the popular vote, she murdered him. She rocked that Bama, and Joe Biden came along and continued the rocking. Draco Sims on YouTube says they've said what they would do in place of Obamacare. How you going to say they ain't present something, then say you don't believe they would do it? Laughing my ass off, idiot. Okay, what do you mean? Where's the plan? Somebody said on TV that what they're going to do. What are you talking about? Is this something else you saw on Newsmax, or you saw on the OWN net, or the One America Network? Okay, there is no replace. The Republicans have no replacement. If they had a replacement, they would have replaced it. Okay, what are you, the idiot? You're the idiot. What are you talking about, Draco Sims? Republicans don't have any replacement for the Affordable Care Act. They don't. I mean, you're just talking stupid right now. He's just talking stupid. But I mean, sometimes it happens. Sometimes, I mean, Trump told guys like this to drink bleach and that hydroxychloroquine was the cure, even though Trump didn't take it and didn't. That's not what they prescribed for him when he had COVID-19. They didn't have any hydroxychloroquine to give to his brother or his other homie that passed away. I mean, what are you talking about? Oh my God, where do they find these? Where do they find these people? Where do they find these people? You listen to the Diamond K Show, of course, radioonfire.com, thediamondkshow.com. I will be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. I will be joined by we have a special guest, Nick Stiles and OG Mully, that are going to join us around 7:30 tomorrow. But we're going to talk the top news stories of the day and much more tomorrow on the program. It has been a lot of a lot of interesting things going on. So much to get to, and stories are just coming like boom, 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 boom. So much news going on. We got this coronavirus. We got the count continuing. Trump's never going to admit that he lost. I mean, I don't know. It's how he gets away with this, and he's not held accountable by the very people that would complain and bitch and moan if somebody else was doing the same thing. It is beyond me. But at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire on all social media. As I said, I will be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Miss any episodes of the show, find us on YouTube, DJ Diamond K, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Subscribe, The Diamond K Show.